what we've really come to understand is it's the hand action that actually drives.
If you have good hands, you know what to do with your hands. So much works back into the body, and the golfer they're empowered when they know how to use their hands properly. Gentlemen?
Excellent. Yeah, look, right now, of course, on the world, you've got Dustin Johnson, and he has a position where his left wrist is really very arched. And
Very.
Arched. And so basically this position he's got the impact position basically at the top of his backswing. And so he makes it that simple, and he plays, whenever he's gone to playing a fade as his major stock shot now, because with this position he just pushes the whole unit down and drives through. The only trouble is with it, when you've got an arched wrist like that, if you're just a little bit, if your body's not quite in position, the tendency will be you can hit the ball low and left. So the preferred for most of us, it is preferred that your left wrist. Ben Hogan at the top of his backswing had a bent left wrist at the top. It wasn't arched and it wasn't dead flat. It was more bent. Now, I personally prefer that because when I got a little bit more bend, it gives me a better structure in my arm, but it also allows me to get a little bit more dynamically going into what Dustin Johnson does in the downswing. So I go thumbs down, and so from a bent top of the backswing wrist condition, it very quickly goes into flat through the bottom. But again, it's something that educated hands, if you do this, push the right hand bent drill, and it pushes bent. Now, I see a lot of people, they think pushing bent is over here. That's pushing, but it's also pulling out of position. So when you want to push your hands, you want to push out in front of you, and then your wrists at the top of the backswing are in that great position, ready to deliver that club head on the A to B line. So it's something that you can test drive. What you said before, Martin. A lot of people, you see a lot of different ways of doing it, but I certainly prefer either a flattish left wrist or slightly bent or cupped, as opposed to arched for most of us, because it's a little less stressful on the other parts of the body. In the golf.
I agree with you. I think Dustin Johnson is probably one of the best athletes on tour as well, as far as being a big guy and really, really flexible. Most tour players at the top of the golf swing, and this is scientifically measured, have a subtly bent left wrist. And I say it's flattish. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, I think that it's one minute on a clock is 6 degrees. Okay, so at the top of most left wrists, we're looking at, when the best players in the world, you're looking like between 12 and 20 degrees of bend in it. But on TV, that looks pretty darn flat. The problematic one we see is when the trail wrist gets flattish. And when we have that flat trail wrist, now the face has no control. We have no way to really go A to B. So, when Peter's showing you that great bent back trail wrist, that motion, and that's how we're in a position to really get the golf club to fire, down through the golf ball A to B.
Okie dokie. So that there's plenty of experimentation to be done there. So any more questions, Chris, to go at this stage? I know.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot of questions from the audience, but what we'll do is we'll just answer this question because it's a pretty important question for most golfers with bad backs. How can you have less stress or less back stress on the back and still have a powerful golf swing and compress the golf ball?
Well, I'll pass that. Do you want to have a shot at that one, Martin? First
yeah, for sure. I think, obviously it's interesting. We've done some fun things at my golf school. We demonstrate, we hit some shots off of our knees, and it's fun to hit driver off your knees. However, when you hit driver off your knees don't really do much. They're stuck in the ground. So there's a lot of effort across your body, okay, to hit it far off your knees without the ability for this to happen. So this behavior, Peter says it so nicely about, how we're hitting past, a right knee, a right hip. But as I hit a little shot here, as this club's speeding past impact, I have a level of allowing myself to kind of release that and get to a finish. And rather than kind of shear past my body, which could potentially hurt myself, I like to allow this trail foot to bank a little bit, this knee to come in, and this trail foot to kind of come up onto its toe, so I'm kind of facing the target. So the sense of not getting too side bent, right? The sense of firing down through the golf ball, keeping kind of up, staying up to hit down, and not getting so side bent to put too much stress on my back, and allowing my trail leg and knee to release after I hit past it, I think will save a lot of backs out there. Peter?
Yes, and that's the back. The back really is a very important center point of the golf swing, because if your back is in pain, it stops you playing the game. And but if what you just said there, if you're turning properly, you turn to a certain amount with your hips, and your shoulders will turn a little bit more, but they won't. It's not a case of keeping your hips still in the backswing. I see a lot of golfers try to keep their hips still and wind their upper body in the backswing. That really puts a lot of torque on the back.
Agreed.
And so with our way of doing it, our hands and hips, the hips transport the shoulders, arms, hands, and club away, and then the swinging club stretches the arms and pulls the shoulders back naturally and gently to a coiled position. So you're getting a natural sequence and coiling without getting, what Martin said there, without getting too anchored and stuck in the ground. Now, when you come on the downswing, as soon as that club starts to hinge going back and the club shaft grip end starts to go point more to your front center, the lower body is geared to going this way. Now, when it goes that way and you fire down, as your hands and arms get fully extended, they move the body. So you're not trying to stay on your back foot, and you're not trying to get on your front foot. The natural swing will release your whole body. And I think you said about George Knudsen, the first thing he taught you was please show us that action, because that's really key to taking that strain off the back, isn't it?
Yeah, so we did this as a kid. We took a golf club, held it across our thighs, and just learned how to kind of go ahead, and we called it relocation and rotation into the lead heel. So as I do this, and you'd be amazed at how hard this is for people, right? Like right now, there's a few inches between my thighs. And as I'm rotating, my thighs are coming together. My knees are together. This gap that was between where my hands are right now is closing. And I'm rotating into my lead heel in a reasonable balance. So, this kind of practice at home, this kind of thing, this is just great practice. George Knudsen made us do this when we were kids a ton. Now, again, this is something that kind of follows the intent of what the hands are doing to hit. But as we kind of put these pieces together, we look at how the body moves, handle first, club head last, and how somebody can arrive in balance. I'm not saying you have to have perfect balance. You don't. And if you're really trying to smash it, you may fall out of balance, which is fine. But for most scoring shots and iron play, you're going to have pretty good balance, or you need to choose a better golf club. But if you can do that, you're going to save your back. You're not going to be, you're not going to be putting yourself, or maybe you have bad back from a history of bad family history, but your golf swing is not going to be the problem that's causing you to have a bad back. I'm 52 years old. I've played my whole life. Knock wood, I've never had a pain in my back from golf ever. So I've been very lucky, I guess, or maybe my coach taught me how to swing aggressively without fear of hurting myself.
What we've really come to understand is it's the hand action that actually drives
If you
the
have
life.
good